What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. I am on the road. I'm actually in Tenerife, a rainy Tenerife today. It's been sunny, but now it's raining today. But what better time to get started with the Week 6 Premier League predictions. Week 5 was exciting for the most part. I haven't seen all of it because some of the games are happening today, and then the Leicester Man United game is actually happening after I upload this video. So please do get your predictions down in the comments for your Week 6 fixtures. We've got the Merseyside derby, we've got very interesting London derby, and of course Man United up against Arsenal as well. So there's a lot of fixtures to get into. Massive shout out to all of you for the support on these videos. I asked for 300 likes on the last episode. You absolutely smashed it, and thank you to all the new subscribers. We're getting very, very close to 22,000 subscribers, and we're trying to reach 25,000 subscribers by or in during the World Cup. So it's going to be very, very exciting. Drop a like, subscribe, and let's get in. Also, I did have a pretty good prediction last week in the, I think it was game week 4 episode. I basically said that Tottenham would beat Nottingham Forest 2-0 and that Harry Kane could score both of them, and he did exactly that, and I did have him captain on my FPL team. Still doing pretty well on the FPL, and if you want to know my FPL team, then let me know and I can show that to you. But let's kick it off with the first game, Everton up against Liverpool. This game always has so much hype, it always promises to deliver so much, and it seldom does. It's going to be physical, it's going to be aggressive, but as of recently, the golfing class between the two teams is such that there's no real competition. There's that feisty nature at 0-0, but at the end of the day, Liverpool are too much better than Everton for them to really cause any troubles. You know, it's not the kind of derby like Arsenal-Tottenham where the teams are fairly evenly matched at most points in time and it could go either way. This is going to be very tough for Everton to get anything out of Liverpool, and I don't think it's going to be a 9-0 or anything crazy, but I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Liverpool. Now, as I'm away on holiday, I'm not going to do any tips or anything like that, like officially with values and everything like that. But I mean, for this one, just get Liverpool onside in any way you can. Perhaps Liverpool win and under 3.5 goals. After that, we move to Brentford up against Leeds. Both teams having decent starts to the season, especially Leeds, it does have to be said, with that resounding victory over Chelsea, which pretty much, I want to say, no one actually predicted, which is why we love the Premier League. I think this is going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be entertaining. I'm going to go for goals at both ends, and I'm actually going to go for a high scoring 2-2 draw between the two teams. If I had to give you a tip for this one, it would quite simply be both teams to score. Had a lot of good both teams to score shouts recently, and I think Brentford Leeds is absolutely nailed on. Now after that, it's Chelsea up against West Ham. I was out walking on the coast by the beach yesterday, and I went past one of those restaurants that plays the footy on the inside, and I saw that it was 1-0 to Chelsea. I thought, okay, normal service resumed. Go and have some dinner, and then I'm walking and I see another restaurant with the game on, and it's 2-1 to Southampton. Not a misprint, 2-1 to Southampton, and it did end 2-1 to Southampton. And I was very, very close to predicting a massive upset here and going for a West Ham win, but West Ham haven't been in the greatest shape this season. They've been struggling a little bit. But I am going to go for an upset of sorts, and I'm going to go for a draw because something about Chelsea seems off. And while Sterling hasn't had a bad start to life in his blue Chelsea shirt, it's looking a little bit shaky for Chelsea at the moment. I'm not sure what they need to do really to get back on it, but they look a little bit off the pace. So I'm going to go for goals though. I'm going to go for West Ham to finally get some more goals this season. I'm going to go for another 2-2 draw between the two teams. It could have been a 1-1 draw, but I don't see a 90-minute game at Stamford Bridge where Chelsea don't score twice. So that's why, in order for it to be a draw, I've had to give West Ham 2 goals as well, which I could see happening. It's going to click eventually. Now after that, we move to St James's Park for Newcastle up against Crystal Palace. This one's going to be a very, very interesting one. Newcastle, at St James's Park, it's tricky for anyone to go there, but Crystal Palace this season, I've been very impressed with them. They're looking pretty good. Wilfried Zaha once again on the score sheet in game week 5. However, I don't see either team beating the other one. I'm going to go for another draw for Crystal Palace. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Now that's 3 draws in a row. I've got another draw predicted later on in the video, but it's not the big fixtures. I've picked pretty much winners from here on out. And after that, we do have Nottingham Forest up against Bournemouth. Obviously, Scott Parker has been sacked. Is it harsh? I don't know. Could any manager in the world have done much better with the resources at the start of the season and the fixtures they've had? I'm not entirely sure. Perhaps not 9-0, but at the end of the day, 9-0, 1-0. I say what's the difference, but it's 8 goals. But I do think Nottingham Forest are going to beat this Bournemouth team at home. They had their fair share of chances against Tottenham, but at the end of the day, quite simply, the better team prevailed. That game went exactly as I expected. Even with the Kane penalty miss, he still scored 2 goals. Tottenham still won 2-0. and Nottingham Forest just need to bury the chances that they make. And I think they will at home against this Bournemouth side whose confidence has to be on the floor, let's be honest. I think Bournemouth will score because they'll see Forest as basically a championship level opponent that they've got some sort of idea how to play against. They have a decent record against Forest, albeit without them having their new mass of signings. So I'm going to go for a Bournemouth goal, but Nottingham Forest to win in the end. I'm going to go for a 2-1 there to add on to the misery of the Cherries and those on the south coast. Now after that, we travel to Tottenham for Tottenham up against Fulham, another London derby, and it's hard not to give Fulham a goal when you have Alexander Mitrovic in the team. I predicted they'd score against Brighton, despite no one doing that other than Man United's own goal, or the own goal for Brighton that went for Man United. And I also predicted Fulham to score against Arsenal and Arsenal to win, and that happened also. So I think Fulham will score against Tottenham, but I can't look past Spurs. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Tottenham win. Although they've been getting results, they haven't fully clicked in the same way I feel that Arsenal and Manchester City have yet. So they're doing well to keep up with those two without, I would say, putting in 10 out of 10, even 9 out of 10 performances. I think they could click this time. I could see Mitrovic scoring and Fulham losing the game, to be honest. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Tottenham. I think Harry Kane scores again, because if it's a penalty, I think he's going to score it this time. And I can see Tottenham scoring quite a few goals against this Fulham side. Now after that, we travel to Molineux for Wolves up against Southampton. I'm not going to spend too long on this one because this is my final draw. A lot of draws predicted this week, 4, and I think it's going to be quite dull. Wolves are not looking great when it comes to scoring goals, and Southampton look very solid, actually, at the back, but also don't really look like scoring many goals themselves, I will be honest. So there'll be 3 possible scorelines for this one. I originally went 1-0 Wolves for home advantage, but Wolves have been looking quite woeful going forward, in Southampton quite decent at the back. Could be 1-0 Southampton, so 1-0 either way, but the scoreline I'm going for, because it's quite cool to predict it, and if you get it right, you feel like a legend, 0-0 between the two teams, the Wolves and Southampton. If there was a game you didn't want to watch, it's this one, and most games that involves Wolves, let's be honest. Speaking of games you would want to watch, however, Aston Villa up against Manchester City. Although Villa haven't had a great start to the Premier League season, I do think they can score 1. I predicted that Palace would score twice against City and still lose, and that happened. I predicted 3-2 to Man City. It was actually 4-2, but I did have Haaland in my FPL, of course, so pretty much nailed on with that game. I think Haaland's going to score again. I think Gundogan might get on the score sheet. I've added him to my team this week for FPL, and I think Kevin De Bruyne's going to notch a couple of assists. I'm going to go for a Villa goal, but Manchester City to not have to come back massively from behind, i.e. 2 goals or more. I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Manchester City in this fixture. After that, it's Brighton up against Leicester at the Amex Stadium. Leicester currently sitting rock bottom of the Premier League as I record this. Still yet to play Manchester United, of course. I kind of predicted a shock draw between those two teams, a 2-2, but that was before Leicester kept failing and capitulating, before Man United got any points on the board, really. So that may or may not happen, but with the way things are at Leicester right now and the way things are at Brighton, I think at the Amex Stadium they're going to bounce back after their loss to Fulham and actually beat the Foxes. I think at the King Power Stadium I can see it being a 1-1 draw, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Brighton. I think I've got Veltman in my FPL team as well, by the way, so there's a shout there. I'm trying to reconfigure a few things in my FPL team, but obviously with only 1 free transfer a week, it takes a long time. I also had Winks on the bench, but then he's now gone on loan to Sampdoria, so I've had to transfer him out for my free transfer, so that's why that's taking a while. But after that, the final game, it's Manchester United up against Arsenal. Now, I was going to sit on the fence. A lot of people are going to sit on the fence. Like, take Thogdad, for example. Guarantee you, in the Game Week 6 video, he said 1-1. It's just the most 1-1 thing, and I think, I don't know if Theo, if he'd have the guts to predict a winner either. I know for a fact Thogdad's going for a draw. I was going to do the same, but I thought, you know what? Let's back Arsenal. They're in great form. I am an Arsenal fan, so it could be seen as bias, and whilst Man United have had a little bit of a resurgence, Arsenal are in great form, and they've actually only lost 1 of the last 7 Premier League meetings with Manchester United. They've only won away at Old Trafford in the Premier League once in many, many years in the Premier League, so I am going against the grain there. But in terms of actually losing in the Premier League against Man United, recently for Arsenal, it hasn't happened often. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal win. I'm going to say that keeps them at the top of the league and makes things very interesting. I think if there's ever a time Arsenal can beat Man United at Old Trafford, it's now. Confidence is high. Like I said, I don't know the Arsenal-Villa result that's being played tonight. You guys will. And I don't know the Man United-Leicester result that's being played after this video is uploaded. But nevertheless, I do think Arsenal are going to give them a good game. Maybe a both teams to score tip would be good there. But either way, we're back in Arsenal, and that is going to do it for my week 6. I think it's 6 Premier League predictions. I get to go and edit this now. I've never made a video on the road, edited with a laptop and uploaded it like that, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But that is going to do it from me. If you have enjoyed it and you do appreciate that I'm doing it, please do drop a like, subscribe down below, leave your comments in the comments below. And also, as I'm traveling, that's why the setup is like this. There's no green screen, there's no mic, it's just very me and the camera. But that's going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be a Premier League predictions video, probably from a similar setup very soon.